Hey guys,
Hello.
it is Sunday at 2 o'clock, and we are doing another talk on Raymond Moore about work this time. For those of you who don't know us, we'll just go ahead and introduce ourselves again. My name is Heidi, and
I'm Joey.
we have 4 kids, and we homeschool them. They are 7, 9, 11, and 13. And today we are talking about Raymond Moore. Maybe no one's hi. Okay, we're talking about Raymond Moore today, about the three-legged stool,
Yes. So we did study last week, and this week we're doing work.
and then next week, hopefully, we might do service. We'll see how the week goes. Anyway, so we just wanted to talk a little bit about work and the value of it for our kids, and the differences and the ways that you can include it and implement it in your home for young kids and older kids. I think I wrote a blog post on it as well, and I think we're going to talk about that because I think for me, it goes to, I think we've lost the joy in it a little bit. We tend to see it as something that we have to do, and not as something we get to do. And so I've noticed that for myself when I'm working, I need to have a more cheerful, positive attitude and model that to my kids. Let's just talk about the value in work. I think work all started right in the Garden of Eden. God knew that there was some value in it.
And it should be enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we've messed up work a lot, by the way, but we do it. We specialize and make it kind of boring because we do the same things over and over again.
Yeah. So some of the things that work, I think God wanted us to get out of it. Some of the things that we learn are thoroughness, dependability. What are some other things we get from? We learn perseverance from work and initiative.
list.
Oh, you have a list. Let's see what we can find on the list.
Responsibility, follow through, stick-to-itiveness, otherwise known as perseverance, ownership, industry, thoroughness, dependability, initiative. This is kind of a big one for us right now. It helps us stop worshiping the God of convenience. That's a big deal. Do you want me to go with the older kids first? We'll do it backwards.
Go with the older kids first today.
So I teach high school science at a small private Christian school, and I'm just going to talk about what I've seen a little bit as a teacher and then a little bit as a father. But work is super important. The kids, the students that I get through who have experience working or have had parents who've required chores of them or required them to do things are much better at sticking to tasks, getting them done. I'm going to say this, it'll sound negative, but in some ways it's good, but grinding things out when they need to be done, those are all really important skills. It also meets a lot of our goals. I was talking with a friend of ours, and she's got a kid who's in high school, and we were just talking, what are your goals for him, and what do you want to learn? And she wrote the goals, and we looked at them, and we noticed that a whole bunch of them would be met by either working at home or getting a job and just learning the responsibility and how to do all of these things. And I found that very interesting because sometimes we downplay work, and we, especially in today's day and age, in schools, one of the trends is for parents just to do all of this stuff for their kids so the kids can just focus on their studies. Well, if you look at the goals that you have for your kid, it may be that giving them those chores and responsibilities is actually what you're wanting to instill in them and for them to learn. So that's something to think seriously about, and I would encourage you to write down your goals for your kid and see if work fits into that and would make them a better person.
Well, this is why Raymond Moore had the three-legged stool, because we can't just study and be well-rounded people. We need other things. And honestly, taking a break with work is a good way to break up your day. But I'll talk about that with little kids. Sorry.
Okay. Well, this will kind of transition because I'm going to talk a little bit about my students, a little bit about being a dad. So things that I found for teaching kids how to work is, if you start off working with them, that's a huge bonus. They love doing it when you're working with them. And even at the high school level, if I'm in there, when we have lab cleanup days or something like that, if I'm in there working with them, everybody gets going, gets into the routine, and we get things done pretty quickly. Having clear expectations. Again, if you do a job with them the first time, then they see how it should be done, and you can point little things out. And then being clear with what you want them to get done. So for our oldest, well, I do it with all the kids now. We'll make a to-do list that includes, 5 or 6 things. Here's what I want you to get done, and make it as specific as possible so they know exactly what to do when they get done with one task. Here's the next one, and you've gone over
But
it
with
them.
enough ambiguity so they can use their brains.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's a kind of a balance there, I found. Like today, I was cooking with my oldest daughter, and she was asking, well, Mom, what bag do I put it in? And just a simple choice of what bag. I wanted her to make that choice. It doesn't matter what bag do you think would work for it. So giving them a task with enough direction, but enough of leeway for them to be able to do it themselves.
Yes. What we were talking about, checklists.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, and then just going through, and then afterwards, when they've done the work, going through and giving them that praise. This great job on this, great job on this. Great, oh, look, I found something, we could do this job a little bit better, without being too negative. But it's okay to point out, hey, we can improve here and here and here, and these are things that we can work on for the future. And in doing that, you're teaching them to notice stuff on their own when you walk through it with them. And, okay, here's something I can do. And
to take that initiative.
yeah, and it doesn't always happen, but sometimes you have, once you've done this for a while, you have some really great mornings. Like this morning, we didn't tell our kids to do anything, and they cleaned up the kitchen, and they did all this stuff, and we went, wow, because we were working on some blog stuff. And
Doesn't happen all the time, but it happened this morning, so yay.
we're clearly not perfect parents, but
No.
sometimes it works. Of course, that wasn't us, that was our kids. Yeah, and just doing this, and as they see you self-starting and do all of these things, they will become better and better at it. The other thing is, when they do the work, they all of a sudden take ownership. That's always a fun thing, we were cleaning up the garage, and one of our kids got bit with the bug and just, can we get this out of here? Can we get this out of here? Can we get this out of here? So he's taken ownership of the garage. And so now he's got a sense of pride. He has a sense of accomplishment. And we've instilled in him that, hey, if you want something a certain way, you can do it. You can do the work. You can put that effort in and get the results that you want. So those are some really good things that come out of work. And I'll remember some more as she's talking.
And now I don't have to keep bugging the kids to try to keep the garage clean. He's doing my job for me. He's bugging them. Okay, so some things with the little ones. You moms with littles, I totally get you. I hear you. It wasn't long ago that I was right where you are. And I remember I just wanted to take that toilet brush out of their hands, take the spoon out of their hands, take whatever tool they were using out of their hands and just do it myself, because everything ended up on the floor. And I'm so glad now that I had this hand holding me back saying, no, just let them do it, because it is paying off now. I get to sit on the couch and just eat bonbons all day. Okay, not quite. But we're moving towards working myself out of a job, which is the goal. So I want them to be able to function in this world and in this life, and as a mother and in their own homes as fathers. And so to instill in that now and to help them with those skills. Combining, you've seen little kids and they're in their little play kitchens. We have these little cute things, and they've got their aprons on and they've got their spoons and they're making all this stuff, or they're outside with mud pies. Kids naturally work. And we just need to be there to back them up and to encourage them in it, and to start giving them real tools so that they can actually transition into doing real things with those tools.
And I'll just interrupt. Dads, this is an opportunity to make everybody happy. So we often get the honey-do list. And if you can find a honey-do that is a project that you can do with your kids, then you're spending time with your kids in a meaningful way. You're getting a honey-do list done, and everybody wins.
And Mama's happy when the items are checked off the
When
honey.
Mama's happy, everybody's happy.
Exactly. He's learning.
Slowly.
Okay, I've already talked interspersing work a little bit with play. So last week I talked about how we would study for about 15 minutes, and then we'd go outside for about a half an hour or do something different, and then we would clean or do a certain chore. So that I was kind of getting that whole work service study all in an hour, and I'll talk about service. We'll talk about more next week, but they kind of blend. And so to get that hour, and then the next hour we would do it again. So we're interspersing them so that it's just not all work and I'm tired of doing this, and so it continues to make it fun. So let me go a little bit and talk about some ways that you can help teach your kids the value of work. And Joey talked about some of it. One of it is model it. And you've heard the phrase, more is caught than taught. And so we could tell them to do something till we're blue in the face, but if they actually see us doing it, they're going to learn that lesson a lot more quickly. So work together, share the work. That's something that, we were all in the kitchen this morning making breakfast, had some music on. We try to make it fun, and that's another thing, so hold on, I'll get to that in a minute. But we share the workload together. We make sure to inspect their work. Colossians says, whatever you do, do it with all your might. And so we want to make sure the kids know that we shouldn't be sweeping crumbs underneath a rug or whatever. I remember doing that.
You didn't learn that from me.
I did it when I was a kid.
Oh, it's yours.
Oh, yeah, I remember totally. I'm like, no one will notice if I sweep these few crumbs under the rug.
I spread the dust out.
Oh, is that what your trick was?
Yes, that was my trick.
Well, I know some of those tricks, and so I'm trying to teach my kids not to cut corners, but actually so I know what to inspect, because I was guilty of some of those things. I check under those rugs and in those corners and under the books and make sure that everything is done with their 100%, that they give a job with all their heart, or do a job with all their heart. So it's okay to have high expectations. Obviously, a 2 or 3 year old isn't going to do the work that you're going to expect from an 11 or 12 year old. Same thing with a 17 or 18 year old. So you kind of, give them that little bit of a leeway with their age, obviously. So another thing you can do to teach kids the value of work is to expose them to really great stories of kids who work. And some of those are The Little Engine Who Could, Aunt Sylvania is an audio story, Little House on the Prairie series, obviously. A Little Princess, books about George Washington Carver are all good. One of our favorites is called The 40-Acre Swindle. And then the Ralph Moody series. You just need to be a little careful when you read that to your kids, because there are some words that you might want to edit. But that's a really good series to read too. So, and then this next point that I'm going to give you is be a blessing, and that kind of goes with the service that we're going to talk about next week, but incorporating work into being a blessing for others, cooking someone a meal, going and clean somebody's house, really being intentional about looking for ways that you can help others. It makes you happy to help others, and so that work becomes now a joy. So it's another way to do it. And then practice, because practice makes permanent. The better we get at something, the easier it is for us to do, the more joyful we are doing it. And so really giving your kids a lot of opportunities to do the work, to clean those toilets and to dust those shelves. I've learned, I'm really guilty at, I'll throw out a bunch of things. Kids, I want you to do this, and these things to do today, and then all of a sudden I just see their eyes and they just kind of get overwhelmed and they shut down. And I know I do the same thing, so I don't know why I'm doing this to them. But I am trying to be better about having them just making a list. Let's sit down as a family and let's write out what we're going to do. And I just got a question, so hold on. Is it possible to save them as pinned posts to view them after? Oh my goodness. I tried to look into that, and I don't know how to do it. So we're looking at maybe possibly putting up a YouTube video with these videos, because we've saved most of them. A couple of them
We lost a couple.
I forgot or didn't know how, whatever. But so we're thinking about making a YouTube channel. So anyway, yeah, sorry. I don't know how to do it. Instagram, I don't think can do it.
We'll work on it.
Yeah. So we were talking about focusing on one job at a time, just kind of getting them through one job and then going, oh, okay, good, let's go cross that off, and now let's get to the next. And like I said, when I would do that hour, I would do 15 minutes of reading or studying, and then we'd go outside and have a break and play. Outside work, you guys, is the best. We have found for our kids, gardening is probably one of the best things.
That's good for us as parents too. It's so stress relieving.
Well, and it makes me get outside with them, which is good. I hate that it takes something to get me outside with them, but gardening is something I have the worst. I don't have a green thumb at all. And so I rely a lot on him, and the kids teach me a lot of what he's teaching them. So anyway, the gardening, that's one of the reasons we created a gardening curriculum for our kids, because it got us outside and working, and it kind of combined all of these things in one. So it's a real time saver. So
it's good exercise too.
And it's good exercise.
Yeah, you go to the gym.
Exactly. You get, and you're talking with your kids. I mean, you're establishing relationships. It just, it hits everything, being outside and working and learning and everything.
And that's one thing I think Raymond Moore mentions. Maybe it was somebody else, but when you're working together, that's one of the best times to talk with your kids. You know, you have that awkward conversation that you need to have about whatever.
Right.
And if you're both doing something, it becomes all of a sudden a lot less awkward, or there's something to do through the awkwardness that needs to happen. So it's a good place to talk with your kids. And of course, it's a good place to talk with your kids about fun stuff too. So
yeah, just get to know each other. And then Joey talked about this: admire, compliment, encourage, and praise them. There are a lot of people out there that say don't praise your kids for their work, but I have found that I appreciate it. It helps keep me going, and so we've decided for our kids that it's something that we're going to do.
One of the best things to do is to let them overhear you praising them to another adult.
Right.
That's really, I remember my dad doing that, and I remember a boss I had that did that, and it just made you feel so good, especially at those younger ages, and build your self-confidence.
And it makes you work harder. You know, you want to do a better job then, because you know someone's noticing. So, you know, sometimes we'll have a little reward party if we get, like, our garage has been a wreck, and so we were trying to get that clean and we're going to have a little Super Bowl. We call it a Super Bowl party because he's a Packers fan and I'm a Bears fan, and so they're playing today, and so this is our little Super Bowl. So it's our little reward for having the kids work so hard.
And the kids are Packers fans.
Yeah. And I don't know what happened. I was pregnant with them, and I would tell them all the time, you're a Bears fan. You're a Bears fan. Look at my shirt. See, it's a mama bear. Bears fan. So all you Bears fans out there, stick together. Okay, so create a system that works for your family. So for my older kids who can read, I made I should have gotten those. I didn't, sorry. I have pictures of them on the blog, though. They're little clipboards. And I made little laminated charts that they can cross off. And then what I do is switch them out. So the older one gets the other one, and so they're not doing the same things every week, and they're getting good at different things. And so the older kids did that. And then I had a little chore chart for the younger ones who couldn't read with pictures. And so they could move it from the to-do over to the done, and they loved doing that, and they'd go through and find what order they want to do them in and all of that. So that was a system that worked for our family, and it's still working. So, but it's important for you to find something that works for yours as well. And then I kind of mentioned this: make it fun. Turn some music on, dance while you're cooking, just be silly and have a good time with working with your kids. And that's what it's all about, is just growing that relationship with them and teaching them so many good things through work. So anyway,
Any questions?
does anyone have any questions? I think we're pretty much...
We'll sit here awkwardly while you think about it. For not too long, though.
Anyone Bear fans out there? Anyone? Oh, come on.
I mean, it's okay if you are. I mean, I'm sorry that you are.
Yeah, they always win. The Packers always beat me, and I'm all alone.
You have 85, babe.
I have 85. So, anyway, it looks... I don't see any questions. So, we really appreciate you all spending your Sundays with us, and
We'll
It
leave
is-
this up for 24 hours.
24 hours,
And
and
try and
we'll
get it
try
on YouTube.
figured it out. So, all right, have a great Sunday. Bye. I have to hit end.
We don't know how to stop this.
Hit end.
And end live video.